Before we get to the owner of Cigar Villa, first I'm going to introduce my girl, my D9 sister, Dee Thomas.
Yes.
She is the creator of podcast Behind the Black Eye. I will say we are live, so if you hear any background sounds, that's the way it works. So now, this is the beautiful Dee
of
Behind the Black Eye. Dee, thank you for joining me today.
Absolutely. Anytime, baby. I'm here.
First off, I am excited about us doing a podcast together here at Cigar Villa.
Me too.
We know the topic is, which I don't think we've talked about it, the topic is, let's talk about sex, baby.
Yes.
Now, everybody's excited about this topic. It is a controversial or it's also exciting topic about the fact that it is important to relationships, but how important is it and how do men and women see and have views on sex? But before we get that, let's talk to Dee a little bit about her podcast. So Dee, tell me how you started your podcast, what it's about, and tell me a little bit about how you look forward to July 10th and what we look to discover and uncover.
That part. So first I want to say it's about cigars and sex. Hello.
That part.
What we feel about cigars and sex. I feel like in this industry we have to talk about sex no matter what, right?
Yes.
So let me talk about my podcast. Behind the Black Eye started about 8 years ago. It's about what people think of the perception of Black people, how we dress, and when we walk in the room, how do they think about us? What, the perception of us. And that can be the way it's sexual or not, right? Especially when women walk in the room, right?
Yes.
No matter what room we walk into, right? We create the table, right? I always talk about that. So that's what I talk about when I talk about Behind the Black Eye, right? What do they see behind that Black pupil? So that's what I talk about when we talk about Behind the Black Eye.
I love that.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. How do you think that the cigar culture has shaped us in our conversations as a culture, as Black people?
I think as we grow, the conversation gets larger, right? It gets broader. It allows us to talk about sex because that's not what we talk about when we come in. We network, we talk about business, but I think sex is what men look at when they look at women, right? They want to see a sexual woman when they walk in a room. But if not, what women look at men, I think the atmosphere and the culture is more profound now, right? And I love it, right? And this on July 10th, when we talk about sex, it's going to be where it's going to open up the doors to how we look at and what we think about. And men are more visual, right?
Facts.
So when we talk about it, I want to hear from the men and what they feel about it. Also the women, right? But for me, I look for the more manly and sexual type of look when I walk into a room, right? And so whether it's women or men, right? And that's what I think about when I talk about culture and sex or what we talk about when we are together. So
yeah,
that's a good thing.
I look forward to it. I think that, so I started in the cigar world about 2013. And what I appreciate about it is that men seem to they feel safe and they have much more conversation with us about who they really are versus if you see them like at a bar or a club, everyone's coming with their representative.
Yes.
What I look forward to in our conversation is, to your point, is hearing and letting everyone hear and having a platform where men can feel safe to share their real views on it. And then women sharing their true views on it as well. Right. One thing I think that's important for us to look at is that men and women actually do view sex differently.
I agree with you.
So one thing I would say what Dee and I plan on doing is being able to set the platform for that safe space so men can speak to it in a respectful way that women can receive it. And then a respectful way and a platform for women to speak to it on their end.
Yes.
So I'll say, before we get to the owner, who is a male,
right?
We are females. So I'll let you go first. What do you tell me? Like, your thoughts on us as females when it comes to, because sex is part of relationships. Men want love and commitment and relationships. Believe it or not, they do.
I do.
But for women, when we get into that, we have the attraction. But how do you think that is different when we approach sex versus how men approach
As I
sex?
said before,
From the beginning, like
okay.
the right off the
So
bat.
I've been smoking for a long time. So I've been smoking maybe about 17 years.
Okay.
So I have seen this culture change, right? Totally. But men are very visual. I must say this, right? Women, they're a little bit more closed-minded when it comes down to sexual beings.
Yes.
When they see it. But the great advantage of it all, when they come together, right? We're able to have a discussion, right? We're able to talk about it, and we're able to be respectful, one receiving it and the other receiving it, like you said, right? So at the end of the day, I'm hoping what we get out of July 10th is that we're able to talk about it, not just on July the 10th, but we're able to talk about it more.
Yes.
Right? And we're able to have this podcast more, and it becomes larger in the scale of it all, because sex is actually taking over right now. Yeah. Right? Let me just tell you, sex and cigars. Facts. I must say this, right?
Especially in Atlanta.
In Atlanta,
yes.
It's huge.
Yeah.
Not only in Atlanta, let me say this. It is just it's something about sex, and it does not have to be sex as a physical.
Facts.
Right? And that is going to be the main course. What are we going to see? What are we going to hear on July the 10th? I think it's going to be exciting. I think it's going to be great. I think the conversation is going to go wow. I think it's going to go in a way that we decided it's going to go, where we're going to both receive it. And that's going to be the best thing about July the 10th, right?
Yeah.
At Cigar Villa. That's going to be the best thing. And when you hear from males and you hear from females, it's going to be a total different experience, a total different conversation. It's going to be great. And let me say this to you. I'm crazy, so I'm going to say this, and everybody know me, honey. I will say what's on my mind. And so that's going to be the good thing, is that you say what's on your mind, but you be respectful in the same aspect, right?
Right.
And because you want to say it where both of us can receive it.
Right.
And we can talk about it, right?
Yeah.
But I can't wait till this goes to a place that we know it's going to go, right?
Yeah.
That's the main course,
yeah.
right? Is that we're able to talk about it, not just at Cigar Villa, but in a broader aspect, right?
I feel you.
And that's going to be the good thing.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if you know this, but our first event was here, and what you just said is actually the vision that I have. The vision of the fact that not only we start the conversation, but we want everyone to continue the conversation and have an open dialogue and hear one another. Women may, I feel, we will connect emotions to sex.
Right.
But do men do the same right off the bat?
No, they're visual, so we already know this, right? So they're gonna look.
Well, we know that, but does everybody? Right.
How you look, what you come with. So men are not, and they may not even hear our words.
Yes.
But they see the way we are, our expressions, how we look. That's the main course. So the funny part is that we're emotionally being, right?
Yes.
And we're nurturers. We're nurturers. So at the end of that day is that us as women, we can't be closed-minded.
Right.
And that is where we're at. We need to open our minds up.
Right.
Because we have to also hear from the men aspect and
right.
what they think about it and how they feel, right?
Right.
Even how they feel, because this is a male-dominating industry.
Facts.
Was a male-dominating. Because we're here.
Sisters of the Leaf.
Sisters of the Leaf. It's here. So at the end of the day, they also have to be open-minded to this conversation.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be, for me, I think this is going to be the open aspect of what we need in this industry today.
Yeah.
Right? And
right.
that is what I think it's going to lead to relationships.
Yes.
Marriage.
Yes.
I think it's going to allow men and women to see each other differently.
Right.
And that is my goal.
That's our goal.
Yeah, that's our goal. Oh, I love it, sis.
Yes. I think that sometimes there are women that they will portray themselves in a way and they want to attract a man, But then when the man is attracted to them sexually, maybe early, then they're turned off as if all he want me for is
Right.
sex and one night stand.
That's the
But the truth
close-minded.
of the matter is that that's how God made the man.
That's it. That's
Men
it.
are naturally carnal, but it does not mean that men are not human, and they have the emotional side.
They do.
They have the same desire as we have. And so that's what I'm hoping for, is that bridge of understanding.
Yes.
On the other flip side, I will say I am over 40.
Right.
So
Me too.
I'm a woman of age,
Age.
fine like wine.
That part.
But the thing about it is that as we grow, sometimes either we're sexually heightened, or things happen chemically where it may wane
Medically?
and medically. And so what I'm also looking for with us as women is that women can speak openly about that, so men have
Yes.
a little bit more empathy
Yes.
and understand that it's not that we don't want to, we're not rejecting you, but we do look at it differently. Therefore, we got to find a middle ground.
That is the main goal, because I say this to say women have been this, oh, they are in a state of I'm in control.
Oh,
And
goodness.
men
Yes.
have, kind of stepped back from all this aspects. And I think the goal that we have set, I think is going to be great in the conversations that we bring, because we'll set the ground, right? And then at the end of the day, however, right, respectfully, this conversation goes, it's going to be a broader view, right? It's going to be something that allows both of them to be able to hear.
Right.
Whether I always say this, if I get to one person, I have done my job.
That part.
Right? I don't expect to get to all, but I do expect to get to someone. And that's the goal that we're going to have on July the 10th.
Yeah.
Right?
I love it.
Yes.
Today in modern day, as part of my book, Black Love Decoded, is exploring Black history.
Which is great.
Is exploring Black history and how from slavery to post-slavery to now, how the woman has actually evolved into this. They call us alpha. They think we're domineering.
Yes.
But the truth of the matter, and I'm going to ask you, Dee,
that part.
which I love this part. Dee, as boss as you are, do you want to take over? And do you want to run everything?
I do not.
Thank you.
But I do know when and how, right?
Yes.
It's the actual person that you deal with that allows you to be more feminine, right? And then some men actually like dominating women, alpha women, right? So we have to watch the person that we deal with in order to be able to actually coexist in that relationship, right? Because it's going to be relationships that men or women, right? Sometimes I have to take control. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes it's okay for the male to be the man, and I'm okay with that.
Yes.
So we have to almost be chameleon-like, right? As a woman. So femininity is my thing, right?
Yeah.
That's what I love. I'm a boss, but at the same time, at home, I may not always be the boss.
That
part.
part.
I'm not going to be the boss.
Us
it's
learning
okay.
to sit back.
We have to sit
when
back
it's time, because the man needs that.
They need it.
He needs to know.
You got to feed their ego.
Facts. Exactly.
You got to feed their ego, and they love that.
Yes.
At the end of the day. But the great advantage is that on July the 10th, and I think everybody should come on July the 10th. I think it's going to be great conversation. It's going to be where we're able to express ourselves, and not just our views, right? We're going to have everyone's views. And I think that's going to be the most important thing, is that we listen, right, to understand, not to respond.
Yes, right.
That's going to be the main goal.
I'll say, even when you say listen, sometimes I may not even understand how men are, but sometimes it's even just to respect it.
Yes.
Because we're not the same being.
Yeah.
We're created differently, scientifically, hormonal, chemical, but we are meant to be together. And if we don't have a Black man's back, who does? So, well, any last words?
I would say this. Make sure you come on July the 10th at Cigar Villa at 7 o'clock. We're going to have great conversation about sex. We're going to smoke cigars. We're going to have a good time. Make sure you RSVP. Make sure you get here. Don't Don't meet me here, feed me here. How about that?
That part. Yeah. Thank you, Dee.
I love you, sweetie. Anytime.
All
This is
right.
what we do.
Yes.